Hello, everybody. Hopefully, you're all enjoying the sunshine. I just thought it was quite good just to give you a final instructions on tomorrow's reopening for more children, and also to give you some pictures of what you can expect, because I know there's been quite a lot going out about how schools are going to be different. I'd like to focus on, yes, how things are going to be different, but also how things are going to be the same, and just some tiny adjustments just to make sure that we are mitigating as much risk. If you are coming back tomorrow, if you've got a moment just to share this with the children so that they can know what they can expect, that would be great. I am doing an assembly tomorrow, obviously in this sort of form, so they'll watch that in their classrooms as well. So I'm just going to share a screen with you. Okay, so this is returning to school. What do we need to know? So firstly, probably quite important for everybody is Channel 4 News phoned me on Friday, and they said they would like to join us on our return to school, which I'm delighted for, to join us tomorrow, and that'll be on Channel 4 News at 7 o'clock. I think it's 7 o'clock, actually. Just double check that. I'll get back to you when I've checked with them tomorrow as well. So just to go over a few things, nursery have got a normal start and end times for all the children, and so you can be, they'll go through their normal door as they would normally, and if you collect them from the playground, that's normal. There are some dots on the playground which are 2 meters apart, so just so you can help you keep your social distancing. The rest of the school, we're having a staggered start, so you can come to school between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, so not before 8:30, not after 9 o'clock. And then also enter through the areas which you would normally enter. Our key workers and vulnerable children in years 2, 3, 4 and 5, can you please go to the mobiles as you normally would and as you have been doing for the last 9 weeks, either through the driveway or coming up through the playground gate. All the other children will enter through their normal doors, so wherever they entered at the before lockdown, they'll enter through the same doors. The only difference is, rather than wait on the playground, they'll come straight in and there'll be staff there to greet them, so that we won't have any huddling on the playgrounds or playing on the playgrounds. Nursery reception, year 6 and key worker children, you will be temperature checked just as you go in. We've got a non-contact thermometer, so we'll just have a quick check of their temperatures as they enter, and then as soon as we've done that at 9 o'clock, we'll hover down to the year 1s and do their temperatures as well. So all children will have a temperature check as they come in. How can you help us parents? Well, be on time and follow the entry and exit procedures, which I'll go through in a moment. We have done a couple of one-way systems where the pathways are narrow. So if you can abide by them, that is great. We're asking if it can just be one adult per children where possible, and I know that might not be possible because you might be dropping off one child and have a child in a different year group who isn't coming to school and they would need to come with you. Absolutely not a problem at all, but where possible, if we can just have the one adult on school premises, and again, that's just reducing the amount of contact between people. If you needed to call us or to send us a message, if you can email or telephone or Facebook message, so we can limit the number of visitors to the office. And again, the office is open, and we've put in plastic visors for the staff in the office. So you can go to the office, but where possible, we're asking people to message us, just again to reduce the amount of numbers that go there. We're asking people to stay on the left, and there's some arrows to show you, which I'll go on to in a moment. And if you're bringing your children on site, also ensure that they're walking on the left as well. I think if we all work together just to remind each other, 1, of social distancing, 2, of staying which side of the pathway, I think we'll all be kept as safe as possible. If your child's temperature is high, we will ask them to take them home and ask them to have a test for coronavirus, and that's how you can help us, just by going yes. And if one child has got a high temperature, we'll obviously be asking you to take siblings home if they're also in school on the same day. Talk to us, absolutely, any concerns you've got, any messages you want to give us, but if you can just respect social distancing when you've done that, while you're doing that, that would be great. We're doing our best not to wear face masks and shields, so just by keeping the 2 meters and that, so that it's a bit nicer for the children, particularly on the first day. Keep to the one-way systems, which I'll go through in a moment. And if you can ensure they're in uniform or their rainbow t-shirts, I have my rainbow t-shirt on today, they have a water bottle, and they have their home learning if they're a key worker or one of the vulnerable groups. If they're not a key worker or not one of the vulnerable groups, so if they're in reception year 1, nursery or year 6, they won't need their home learning because they'll be doing some specific work within their classrooms. And again, I'll talk to you about that in a moment. So here's what we've got. So here is our driveway over here. So you can see that we've got arrows going up the left. We have got a line in the middle here. So if you can make sure you're keeping between on the left, and these are also 2 meters apart. So if you give you a good judge of when to move on if there are quite a long line of people going up the driveway. I'm hoping the staggered start will mean that there's not a long line of people and things will be easy to move. The other pinch point that we've got is the Key Stage 1 playground. So as normal, you'll come in this way, and again, keeping to the left. Slight difference on leaving the playground. So once you've dropped off your children, what we're asking you to do is again travel on this side of the pathway. Now this is where it is different because we've actually put you on the right, and that's because this is going to be the exit coming out. So you'll enter this side, keeping close to the arrows. You'll go along this side on the right, and then you will turn here, and we've opened this gate here, and that's to be mindful of people coming in this way, because this is often a pinch point. So we think if we can get them to leave, going this way, then that will mean that they can come round here. Entry. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, there'll be people there to help you to man that. The other entry that's quite narrow, it is actually 2 meters, but not if it's only just 2 meters. So what we're saying is if you're a key worker and you're entering, you'll leave through, you'll enter this way. So there's 2 ways of which you can enter as a key worker. You can come up the driveway, or you can come into the gates, these gates. And what we're asking you to do, if you come through these gates, if you then, once you've dropped off your child for the mobiles, that you carry on walking and you go down the driveway to exit, because this is where it is quite narrow. Unless, of course, you have a pushchair, and we've got steps, and we found that actually it's safer for you to go this way, and there'll be so few people and the grass is quite dry that one of you will be able to walk onto the grass at that point. But where possible, we're coming in this way, but not out that way unless you've got a pushchair. The bikes, so if your child is coming on a bike, they can only use the driveway entrance. So I don't want them coming across the field anymore. They'll need to come all the way round and down New Parks Crescent and in through the driveway. They'll obviously need to get off their bike, just like this young man is doing very nicely here, and they push it up the driveway. So this is the only entrance and exit for bikes from now on. And that's so we can keep the field gate as and the field path as clear as possible. Obviously that's quite a thin path, and so we're going to have to be saying that is going to be 2-way, because obviously if you live that way it's quite a long way around to walk, but if you live that way, but there is a field next to it that is quite dry, so we're also saying to people just to be considerate of each other and to one of you to move over onto the field in order so you can pass safely. But again, not if you're riding a bike. Any child with a bike now must use the driveway. So talking to your children about how does indoors look different? Well, there's lots that looks the same, to be honest. There's just these weird little things that have popped up just to help us keep safe. So for reception, as I've already said, that here is a plastic screen now rather than an open window to protect our reception staff and to protect you if you're talking to reception. And there's some clear, please wait here, footprints for you to wait if you're waiting for reception. And again, if you remember on the driveway, there's the arrow. So if that one is somebody stood there, if you wait on the arrow, and then you could keep you 2 meters apart if there's a queue for reception. The children again will be walking on the left, so they will walk up this side on the left, and they will walk down this side on their way back. This is 2 meter distance, and we've deliberately offset these so that if you're standing here and you've got a child standing here, they're also 2 meters apart. What we'll be asking the children to do actually is to stand just before the arrow and step over the arrow, because we don't want them to wear out or get knocked off the carpet. They're pretty well stuck down, but I think we have lots of children walking over them. They won't last as long as we want. And that's the same in all corridors, and teachers know where they need to wait in order to allow a next class to walk past. So you can see, and there's been lots of talk actually. I've been a bit disappointed about people talking and how the head teachers have spoken about children being on their own desk. It's almost like they're segregated. Well, actually, 2 meters apart they are 2 meters apart. They are on their own desk. They do have all their own equipment, but actually they can still talk to each other. And we will be expecting them to talk to each other. Before lockdown, all of our lessons were about discussion, sharing of ideas, and that will continue. So although they'll be sat in at their own desk, it won't be like test conditions, which I think some people have kind of made out. So the staff will be doing their best to make that as warm as possible. And so there's lots of communication, because we realise that's one of the things that's really important, is getting that social interaction with their friends back. So here's the nursery. Not a lot of difference. We've moved out all the soft furnishings, and we've replaced it with anything that is plastic, so it's easily to clean, and it'll be cleaned, well cleaned in between each group. So we have a morning and an afternoon group, and there's a big clean going on in between those 2 sessions. There'll also be one group inside the nursery playing with one of the adults, and there'll be one outside the nursery playing. So they're quite segregated. So not a lot of difference. That's how the classrooms look at the moment. Obviously this one looks a little bit bare, but that's only because these toys are all being packed away at the moment, and then that gives them plenty of space to play once they get them all out and playing together. Again, social distancing in the nursery, really, really difficult, and it's not expected, and that's why they've been put into small groups, so they'll stay within their groups, and there's awareness that at times they won't be socially distanced. Our classrooms, how they will look different in reception, and again, lots of this looks the same. So again, you've got where they'll be working with teachers, and they will be spaced out, but again, in there's plenty of space on the carpet for them to play, but also when they're sat at desks, although they're 2 meters apart, they can still got sufficient distance in order to talk to each other and to share ideas. And again, the apparatus has been changed, so it is plastic apparatus and equipment, so that it's easy to clean in between the 2 groups swapping over. One difference we've got here, we've just put a barrier here, and that's so that we can keep 2 of the classes separate. So there'll be a class here, and then there'll be a class in reception on the other side, so there's almost like 2 bubbles and that go into here, so that is how that's set up. Playtime. So here is reception, and this is how the reception playground looks. So again, if you are a nursery person and you're coming at 8:30 and you're waiting to go down there, these dots are all 2 meters apart, so it gives you a good idea of how you can make sure you and your children are socially distanced from the next person while you're waiting, and again when you're coming to pick up. So the playground, they're going to remain in their bubbles. Again, this is where social distancing is quite difficult, and for the last 9 weeks when our key workers have been working, those have been working in small bubbles and playing all together. The equipment will be cleaned in between playgrounds, so foundation stage will come and play out here. Depending on the numbers, if there's more than 5 of them, then we will be putting a barrier in here so that they will be separated either way. If there is just 5, then we'll put them into one bubble so that there's plenty of people to play with and for social interaction. Here's year 1, and again, year 1 has been separated into 2 areas. So we've got Miss Perkins' class will play on one side, and Miss Bisker and Mrs. Jones's will play on the other. They're open at the moment because that's where the children are going to walk through, but then we will close them off, and there'll be apparatus and equipment for them to play with in their bubble once they've eaten their dinner. So this is the other half of the playground. You can see again, we've put dots on here just so it makes it easier when the children are lining up at the end of the day waiting for their parents, that actually it's easy to dismiss them to you and make sure that they're socially distanced. Key stage 2, they'll be separated between there's 3 year 6 classes, the field, the playground and the astroturf. And again, we've chosen activities, so we're going to have the table tennis table out there, long skipping ropes, activities that are about playing together but keeping that distance. But also being aware that they're going to be in their bubbles, so because we do envisage at times social distancing, particularly at playtime, as we have found with our key worker children, can be quite difficult. The toilets, we've changed all the toilets to be unisex, and that's so we can ensure that each group are only using the one toilet. All the toilets are cubicled, so that's not going to be a problem, and they are supervised. So although girls and boys will be using the same toilet, so this toilet will be Mrs. Perkins and Mr. Stevens, and opposite will be Mrs. Jones, Miss Biscuit and Miss Vincent, because obviously Mr. Stevens' class aren't back at the moment. So at the moment that will be only Miss Perkins' class that will be using that toilet, and the other side will be only Miss Biscuit, and the teachers will go through that with the children. The difference being that the girls and boys will use the same toilet area, but obviously not the same toilet cubicle. Based on government advice, we've got rid of the hand dryers, or we've taken the fuses out the hand dryers, and that's so that when the children are washing their hands and they're breathing, that won't help hand dryers circulate air. So it's to stop that. And so in each of the toilets there are paper towels for children to dry their hands on, and obviously plenty of soap. At the end of the day, we're going to use the same entry and exit rules as what I've already discussed. 3 o'clock, 3:30, a member of staff will be on the playground, but at 3:10, all of the children will be lined up on the playground. Nursery, same as normal, 3:15. If you've got a year 6 child and you've informed that they're walking home alone, then they will walk home. We'll dismiss them at 3:10 as normal, and they will they can come through any of the gates unless they have a bike, and then they'll be walking their bike down the driveway and leaving out of that way. And what we're asking is at all times to remain socially distanced. Lunchtime, children in reception and Key Stage 1 and free school meal pupils in Year 6 will be provided with a packed lunch from school. Key worker children and non-free school meals children still need to bring their own packed lunch. Reception are going to eat in the dining room, and we've spaced those children out, but again still with 2 meters, but with plenty easily distanced in order for them to talk to their friends, which we'll be expecting them to do. Everybody else will eat at their desks before going out to play. Please ensure every child brings with them their water bottle filled with water. Oops, just missed out a slide. We so look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. We're keen to get back going and supporting those parents who have shown a desire for their children to come back to school. But we're also home learning will continue for all, and it's in reception ready for collection. What I can ask is, if you are coming to collect for children who are not at school and you've got no children at school, if you can do that between 9 and 2:45 or after 3:30, using the driveway entry, so that you're not coming in at a time when most of the other children are coming in. So if your child isn't at school, or you haven't got children at school, then if you can only use reception or pick up things from reception, using the driveway entry, and after 9 o'clock and after 3:30, I will alter that. Can you also, I ask, really plead with your children. We've worked really hard to make these flowers look beautiful, and Mrs. Hill's mum and dad have both been working on our planters. Please, can you not allow your children to walk on these walls or climb over the planters? And also this really nice rockery, just 1 second, let me just get that back for you. Here, that's not for children to walk on. So when you're collecting your children or bringing your children, can you please make sure that they are staying on the driveway and walking up the driveway and not climbing over that. And I think we're going to very much look forward to seeing you tomorrow. If you do have any questions, you can text or email the office at office@parks.leicester.sch.uk, or message us through Facebook, and we'll answer all questions today, as long as they're before 9 o'clock, because after 9 o'clock I probably will turn off my computer and think about going to bed. Remember, it still remains your choice. We're really happy and we feel as though we have done a lot to mitigate risk, but this is your choice, and it's okay. And as I have said all the way along, if your children come to school, that's the right decision. If your children don't come to school, that's also the right decision. And it has to be a personal choice, and it has to be based on your personal circumstances. I know a lot of you have said that they are coming, and some people have said, oh, I'm not going to send my child yet, and I've been really apologetic. Honestly, you don't need to apologise. We really do understand both decisions. And just to remind you that it's okay to change your mind at any point. All we ask is you let us know, so we've got an idea about how many children are coming through the doors. Okay, I shall just stop that share. I shall wish you a very happy Sunday. Enjoy the sunshine, and I look forward to seeing some of you tomorrow. So have a good time.